All right, men, welcome. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about why my wife cheated on me. Trying to answer that question. So, first of all, if you're in this situation, first of all, I'm sorry for you. It's something awful to try to deal with and go through. Make sure you review my other episode, my wife cheated on me. What should I do next? To kind of go through the whole process. But this episode's more about, why? Because a lot of times we ask ourselves that. It's normal. So, one thing I really want you to understand is that it is not your fault that this happened. Okay, we're going to talk about some things today that, sure, maybe, there are things you could have done better, or maybe there were things that, kind of led her to be interested in somebody else. Sure, there's things you can improve, but you didn't make her cheat. You didn't make her be unfaithful. Okay, so just remember that. It's fine to ask yourself why my wife cheated on me, but it's not okay to just blame yourself and say it's all your fault and you made her do it. Okay, you didn't make her do it. Doesn't matter what you did. Okay, you didn't force her to do that. Now, if you went out and you cheated on her as kind of a revenge, then you're responsible for that and you have to look at that. But you didn't make her do that. She's in charge of her decisions. And you're in charge of yours. You're responsible for what you do. So, yeah, it's good to look at how you can be a better man because of this, but not good to blame yourself for what you did. So, don't go there. There's a scripture in our church that says, let things weigh you down only to that trouble that brings about repentance or change, right? So you don't want to be saying, oh, I'm the worst person ever, and I wish I would have done this and all of that. Getting to where you're really beating yourself up, but just where you can, make some changes and see what you can do better. Remember, you have infinite worth, no matter what you've done, no matter what's going on here, and you have infinite potential. If you're a religious person, remember you're a son of God, and so because of that, you have this infinite worth, infinite potential. Don't forget that. So another thing that can bring you some comfort, if you're saying, hey, my wife cheated on me, why did my wife cheat on me? Just know it happens quite a bit. As I was doing some research for this, women in these days, they're being unfaithful, they're cheating about just as much as men. And I was actually surprised by that. And in fact, tens of thousands of men every month search for help about wife cheated on the internet. They type that in, they're looking for help. So, you're not alone in this. Just remember that. Take comfort in that. And, find a group of people that can help support you through this. Come over and join our Facebook group at Win Your Wife Back on Facebook. Again, you can search Win Your Wife Back on Facebook. And not everybody there has the situation where their wife cheated on them, but we're all looking for ways to improve our marriage. And a lot of guys in there do have this situation where their wife cheated on them. So you can find a group there of men who are willing to support each other. If you're not supportive, I kick you out. So it is a supportive group because I make sure it is. All right, so let's get into some answers to your question of why my wife cheated on me. So here are the top 5 reasons according to a study in the Journal of Sex Research. So the number one, lack of love for husband or having fallen out of love. If your wife is saying stuff like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Okay, that was the biggest reason. And in my mind, it sort of comes back to that, lack of connection, lack of love for the most part. Okay, and that's what we're really going to focus on learning about today. Another reason was low commitment, saying, I just wasn't very committed to my partner. Now, that could be just, your wife's upbringing or what she thinks about marriage or whatnot. And maybe there's not much you can do about that. But she could have low commitment because you were neglecting to do some of the things that maybe you could have done better, and that we're going to be talking about. Another reason would be wanting to feel better about herself. Okay, maybe this guy was giving her attention that she wasn't getting at home or from other places and just made her feel good. A lot of times that's what happens. A desire for sexual variety was another thing that was mentioned there. So the thing is, we're going to talk about how you can create intimacy in your marriage so that this would have come up earlier. Okay, so if she wasn't very happy or she wanted more sexual variety, you could have discussed that more openly. And she could have done this anyway, right? Okay. Remember, it's not your fault she did it. She could have dealt with things in a much more mature and productive way. Okay. And the last one is situational factors, like I was drunk and, it just happened or whatever, So, and again, there you're going to have to think, well, is that, do I forgive her for that? Do I not? Definitely recommend forgiving, meaning not trying to punish your wife for what she did. That vengeance that you feel like, getting back at her, giving that up, giving judgment over to God or to the universe or whoever, whatever you believe in, is really freeing for you. Okay, it lets you move forward. So I definitely recommend forgiving. And that's different from having faith in her, believing she can change, or trusting that she can change, which she has to prove by showing you over time that she's trustworthy. And you might be checking on things with her, like text message or things like that. Again, check my other video about my wife cheated on me. What should I do? For more details about that. But those were the main reasons, the main 5 reasons. Again, lack of love, low commitment, wanting to feel better about herself, desire for sexual variety, and situational factors. So we're going to really talk mainly about the falling out of love and how we can, look back and see, okay, like maybe there are things I could have done better. Again, not trying to punish her anymore and just looking at motivating ourselves or using this as an opportunity to become a better person. Okay, this is what I believe in strongly, is that the way that we save our marriage is by becoming the best version of ourselves, the strongest version of ourselves. Okay. So women, they're really looking for 2 main things from their husband, from their man: security and romance. So, and that comes in these areas: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And physical also includes sexual. So when I say security, I'm talking about feeling safe. And when I say romance, the definition of this is excitement and mystery associated with love. So, there's kind of like this balance where one wants to feel safe, but she also wants to feel like, hey, things are a little bit different, they're a little bit exciting. So if you can provide both, you've got it made. So let me give you a few examples. So for physical security, right, she wants to feel like, financially that you're helping out. Even if she's the one working, that you're maybe contributing to that or not spending too much money or whatever. Mentally, she needs to feel safe that she can come to you and tell you things and you're not going to shut her down or not listen or things like that. Emotional safety, that she can tell you when she's feeling upset or scared or whatever, and that you'll listen to it. Maybe not jump in right away and try to fix it, okay, that she can share things with you. And then spiritual safety, meaning she can tell you what's important to her, how her religious beliefs are maybe different than yours. So these are all areas that I really had to understand and work on a lot. One of the hardest things that happened to me was my wife telling me that her religious beliefs weren't what I exactly thought they were. They weren't exactly matched to mine. Very scary for me. It took a lot of bravery for her to share that with me because I wasn't really ready to be safe for her in that way, that I wasn't ready, I couldn't, I wasn't ready to just kind of listen to that and try to understand her. I made it mean a lot about me and I got upset. Okay. So, if you're listening through this and you're saying, man, I didn't really do that. I wasn't really listening, or when she told me stuff, I wasn't really trying to understand her. Okay. Again, just say, hey, like that's an area for me to improve. Because if you can improve in that with your wife, you can do that with work. You can do that with your kids. You can be, a better parent, a better salesperson, or a better employee, right? If you understand what the people around you are hoping, you can understand them better and, do a better job for them. And then romance, okay? So physical romance includes like sexuality, so having things be a little bit different or a little bit romantic and fun. Mental excitement and mystery. Maybe she tells you, hey, I'm really interested in learning how to dance. And then you take her dancing or you buy her courses to a dance class. Or she says, man, I'm really interested in learning about how to build a business. And you buy her a little course about it, right? So that's excitement, mystery, surprise. Emotional excitement and mystery, listening to her. And then, also sharing things about yourself. What are you thinking and feeling? What's important to you, right? Spiritual excitement and mystery. Maybe you take her on a trip to, if she's Buddhist, maybe you go, see some famous Buddhist place or, whatever it is, right? So excitement, mystery, something fun, something a little different. So when a woman feels these things, both excitement and mystery, she has that in love experience. And if she's not feeling these things and another man sort of helps her feel these things, that could be your answer to why my wife cheated on me. Again, not that it's your fault, but just looking and saying, hey, like, where was I? Where could I have been stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually? Where could I have been a better man here? Because no matter what, if you improve yourself and become a better man, you win. It also happens to be the most likely way you'll attract your wife back to you. So what are some of the main reasons that women fall out of love? So I did a survey about 500 wives. This is what they told me. So number one complaint was not enough household help, like cooking, cleaning, or helping with kids. The guys kind of left that on the wife, or if they did help, they really expected a lot of appreciation or attention or even sex for doing it. So take a look at yourself and think like, did I help out that much around the house? And a better way to put that is, was I really a partner around the house? Was I, wanting the house clean just because I wanted it clean and not because I expected something back from her? That's kind of the key. What's your intention when you're doing these things? Is it to get something back, or is it just to have a clean house and to raise happy kids? Because here's the thing, again, if that's your intention, you win either way because you have a clean house and you have a good relationship with your kids. Also happens to be the way that your wife is going to be most interested in being with you or giving you that attention and appreciation and sex, right? Because she knows it's not just for that. It's not just about trying to get something back. Okay, key point. Another big complaint. So not enough help around the house, and then not listening to her enough, right? Not knowing her hopes, her dreams, her fears, listening to her ideas on finances, kids, family. So, if you can't tell me right now, okay, hey, what's most important to your wife? What does she want to accomplish in her future? What's kind of stressing her out right now? What's she looking forward to? Okay. How does she think is the best way to raise our kids or our family? If you can't really answer those, you don't know your wife as well as you could. It's an opportunity. Okay. And then the other big complaint from wives, so again, not enough household help, not listening to her enough, and then not doing what these women described as the little things. So that's like a call during the day just to check in, a text saying, hey, how are you? I love you, right? Little gifts, remembering birthdays or holidays, hugs and kisses, but not necessarily leading to sex. Okay, for us, a hug and a kiss, like, it's kind of a prelude to sex a lot of times. But for women, they want that sort of separated. There's hugs and kisses, and then there's sex, and they're separate, right? They're different. So having a hug or a kiss that doesn't have to lead to sex, right? Telling her she's pretty or beautiful, okay? So think back, how well were you doing at, just checking in, seeing how she's doing. But again, not necessarily to get something back, but just because to show you care about her, right? Because again, you win either way. If your intention is just to show you care about her and you show that, then you win. If your intention is to get something back and you don't, now you're mad, you're upset, right? So think about these. These may be some of the reasons of why your wife cheated on you. These can also result in low commitment, right? If she's coming home, she's doing all the work around the house, you're not really paying attention to her, you're not, showing her she's important, you're not giving her security and romance, of course she's not going to be super committed to you. Or it's hard, okay? She could still be, but she probably wouldn't be very happy. So when another man starts to meet some of these desires, right, women can start to fall in love with them, right? When a guy starts, listening to her, oh, wow, that must be so hard with your husband. Oh, yeah, you do so much around the house and you're not getting much help. That must be really tough. Oh, your husband forgot your birthday again. Wow, that must be really hard. Now she feels like someone's listening to her. And then if that man starts getting her some gifts or things like that, now you're in trouble, right? So another reason women will cheat, why your wife cheated on you, is to feel better about themselves. So a lot of women battle with low self-esteem. Okay? And they try to get their sense of worth from their husband or from the people around them. Right? So, she could be doing this even to get more attention from you. That's a possibility, right? Oh, my husband won't pay attention to me. Fine. Like, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to find someone that will. And it's kind of like a revenge against you, getting back at you, right? It could be. That's a possibility. All right. Now, it's kind of useful to think about this. Sure, maybe she's battling with that. But there's not a ton you can do about that besides reminding her, hey, you have infinite worth, you have infinite potential. She's going to have to figure that out for herself. And you're going to have to know that for yourself deeply, right? That you have infinite worth and potential no matter what you do. And then you can kind of share that. So, it's helpful to think about that, but it's not super helpful to dwell on this and say, oh yeah, you had low self-esteem, that's why you did this, kind of blaming her, right? You should have done better. What's more useful is to look at, hey, am I doing that? Am I, struggling with this low self-esteem, right? So maybe you were spending all your time trying to get your wife's attention, affection, and appreciation. We've kind of talked about this already. So I just watched the movie Hitch again. Great movie. But so at the first part, he is dating this girl and he keeps saying stuff to her like, oh, like, I love you so much. I love you more than you love me. Like, I'm glad you love me even a little bit because, that's so great. He just kind of going overboard because he wants to get that back from her, right? He needs her to feed his sense of self-esteem. And eventually he goes and he finds her making out with this other guy in a car and he's banging on the car window and he's saying, why'd you do this to me? What did I do? What could I have done better? And the guy that she's making out with says, look, man, you're doing it right now. Meaning, he needed her validation and for her to build him up so much that she just got sick of it. It's like a mosquito trying to suck out that attention, appreciation, and love. So you got to think, am I being a mosquito? Am I trying to suck out appreciation, attention, and love from her? Because eventually she gets sick of it. She wants to smack that mosquito away. All right. So again, maybe you were doing those things. Maybe you were doing some stuff around the house. Maybe you were even bending over backwards to do this stuff. But you were doing it because you wanted something back, right? You did it with the intention of her returning the favor with attention, appreciation, or sex. Okay, I used to do that a lot. I used to do this a lot. Because what happens is you do it, but then eventually you get sick of it, and then you get mad, right? So an example is I bought my wife flowers, right? I would do this pretty consistently, and I'd bring them home, and then, she would do stuff like not say thank you or not put them in a vase. And I would interpret that like, oh, she doesn't even care, right? So, I would do this nice thing, but my intention was to get back from her appreciation or attention or sex or whatever. So when I didn't get that, I was mad. And so it just created more distance between us. Instead of being something that helped create connection, it created more distance. So you got to look at that intention. Is my intention to get something back from her? Because she can smell that out. She can tell that that's a mosquito, right? And that's why she maybe doesn't get that excited. So when I was bringing those flowers and expecting something back from her, she's like, oh yeah, great. But she's saying, oh yeah, great, because she knows I'm like trying to buy something from her. It's like a transaction. I want attention back or appreciation back or sex back. And so she's not that excited about it. Makes sense. So just look, what's your intention? Right? So I call this flipping between the mosquito and the dictator, right? I'm trying to suck attention out, but when I don't get it, I get mad. So I flip between trying to suck that out and then being a dictator, getting upset because I'm not getting it. Common thing to get into. So when another man starts building her up without expecting back, at least seemingly, right? We know this guy was actually after having sex with her, but at first he made it seem like he wasn't. She starts feeling valued. She starts feeling wanted. She starts feeling attractive. And that feeling, it's intoxicating, right? She feels good about herself. And that could be the answer to why my wife cheated on me for your situation. And again, she still chose to be unfaithful. It wasn't your fault. She could have expressed it in a better way. She could have met her desires differently than going out and being with another guy. Absolutely, okay? But you can't change the past. You can't change her actions. You're not responsible for her actions, okay? You just have to look at what you can do. What can I do differently? How can I build up strength so I feel good about who I am? And when I do that, that's the thing that's going to attract my wife back to me. So get your self-worth from things that don't change. Don't try to suck it out of your wife, right? Get your self-worth from being a son of God, if you believe in God, or just a perfectly evolved human, right? Get your self-worth from being a man of your word. That's one of the biggest ways to build your confidence. Make and keep promises. Be a man on a mission. Know what you want out of life and be working towards it, okay? When you do that, you're going to feel amazing about who you are. And because of that, that's what's going to attract your wife to you. And let's say even it doesn't. Let's say she runs off with this other guy. Look, you're going to feel great about who you are. You're going to attract someone to you that also is a person of integrity, that also wants to be the best version of herself, okay? Because you're working towards that. Okay? You attract the type of people that you are. Okay, so become that stronger person. You're going to attract a stronger person to you. All right. So summary of today's episode. Why my wife cheated on me. So main reasons why I cheated according to this survey. So again, situational, like I was drunk or whatever. Again, not a whole lot we can do about that. Although there were probably some deeper issues going on, probably, okay, that made her, get in that situation in the first place. And probably ties back to this idea of falling out of love or not being committed. Okay, wanting sexual variety is another reason. But again, if you guys were more intimate, meaning she felt safe sharing things with you and she felt some romance, she probably would have brought that up to you. Probably. Not 100%, but probably. Sometimes they cheat to feel better about themselves. They feel that attention, appreciation that they haven't felt for a while. Okay, maybe you weren't giving her that, or maybe she wasn't feeling it as much. And that biggest one, being out of love or low commitment, which again kind of ties back to these ideas of, maybe not, showing her that attention, appreciation, security, and romance that she was hoping for. So again, this was based on a survey, but your wife's reasons may be totally different. So take the time to really try to talk to her and understand. Okay, I recommend this no matter what the situation. If you can get in there and try to understand what was the pain that drove this, right? I gave you some ideas here. And as you come to talk to her, you might say, hey, was it this? Was it that I wasn't really paying attention? Was it that I wasn't really helping around the house? Was it that I, wasn't really, treating you with that, romance aspect of introducing some excitement and fun to our relationship? Was it those things? And she'll probably be amazed that you got this kind of insight and say, yeah, it was some of that. And also it was this. When you do that, when you take the time to understand her, that's going to be amazing because you win either way. Because either you get some feedback that's going to help you be a better person. You're going to get that no matter what. And your wife may also see, hey, like this is a different guy than I was running away from, right? This is a different guy than the guy that I, wasn't too interested in, If your wife really feels deeply understood by you, typically she won't want to go to another guy. Typically. Not 100% of the time, but typically. So when you start to really try to deeply understand her, you're providing her something that she really wants. Okay? So again, you win either way because you get feedback that can make you a better person and you're doing something that could very well help attract her back to you and start winning back her affection and trust and love. So, look through, see, are there ways I could have provided more security and romance? Are there ways where I was kind of being a mosquito and trying to suck out that appreciation and attention and affection and sex or whatever? How are you trying to get your worth from her instead of building it on your own sense of self, being a son of God or a perfectly evolved human, being a man of your word, being a man on a mission, okay? So what to do next? If you're asking yourself, look, why did my wife cheat on me? Why my wife cheated on me? Hopefully you got some answers today. But here's some ideas of what to do next. So one of them, again, is talking to her, trying to deeply understand what it was that drove her away. And go in there, try not to get defensive about it, right? Saying, look, I want some feedback. You left me for a reason, I'm sure. You went to this other guy for a reason. I'd just like to know why. Here's some ideas. As I reflected on it, I think maybe I wasn't helping out around the house as much as I could have. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe my anger was getting out of control. That's a common one, right? I think those are some of the things that drove you away. Is that correct? Because you'll probably have to prime the pump a little bit when you go talk with her. If you just say, hey, why did you cheat? She might say, oh, you should have known. Or, I don't want to talk to you about it. But if you come in and you say, hey, like, here is why I think you might have cheated. Or why I think you might have gone with this other guy. Is that right? Or what else was there? Okay, that's going to prime the pump. And then she's going to say, yeah, it was that. But you also forgot this. And then your reaction is just going to be, okay, yeah, thank you for that feedback. I appreciate that. It's not going to be, oh, I never did that. Or, well, you did that too, right? Because as soon as you start doing that, now, you're the type of guy that she does not really want to be around. But if you can really deeply understand her and not get defensive, that's who she wants to be around, okay? And when you develop that skill, that's a win no matter what. Again, because even if she ends up with this other guy, if you become a stronger person because of it, you're going to be a better example to your kids. You're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going to attract somebody to you that's going to be that same caliber of person that's strong mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually. So again, your focus needs to be building up that strength. Women, they've always been attracted to strength. In caveman days, it was more about physical strength. Can this guy smack the tiger? Can this guy, get food for us? Now, it's more about spiritual, mental, emotional, still some physical, right? And sexual strength, right? So you focus on building those things, building up your sense of worth, being able to choose your thoughts, being able to control your emotions so you're not getting angry and resentful, right? So you can manage that. And sexually, so it's about connection and not just about your orgasm, right? Or even about her orgasm, right? Sometimes we get so focused on that, we're like, was it good for you? Was it good for you? And then that turns her off, right? So we focus on connection, making about connection in sex. Because listen, if you can do that, you're going to be more attractive than 99.99% of men out there, including this other guy. Okay, if you're a man that's spiritually strong, right, has integrity, knows who you are. We know this other guy doesn't really have that much integrity. We know that because he had sex with a married woman, right? So if you can develop that spiritual strength, you're going to be more attractive. So I'd love to invite you to register for a free webinar at mikefrasermd.com. When you register, we're going to talk about building these strengths and how you do it. And then you're going to get a blueprint on how to do it. When you register, you're also going to get the 7-day system men use to save their marriage, even after infidelity. So it's a 7-day email series. You're going to get something to do every day. The first day really goes into more detail about what we talked about how we really ask these questions about our wife's pain, and specific phrases and things you can do to introduce that subject. So jump over right now, mikefrasermd.com. That's Mike, F-R-A-Z as in zebra, I-E-R, MD.com. And sign up, and I'll see you guys there.